Normally, oh sorry, hi, James from England. Normally I'd be reading my paper or magazine. Today, no. This is the Black Book of Death. Why? Well, if you look at my profile, you know I teach at a school in Canada. And every once in a while, I write down things that make me angry. Angry because students do not know these useful, helpful things. Why? It's because it's repetitive. If you saw an earlier video, and I suggest you do, we talked about foods, and we said delightful, tasty, succulent, instead of delicious. I actually used to have students say, the water is delicious, teacher. Water is not delicious, it's water. Okay? Here are two more things, examples of things that drive me crazy. And if you correct these things, your teachers will actually treat you a little differently. You'll find they'll treat you as if you were more intelligent. And it's true, because you're showing you understand how to use the English instead of using the same repetitive English over and over. All right? Today's lesson is on, for example, and same. Okay? So, ready? Let's go to the board. My buddy's not here, but he will, because he's going to help me with the examples today. Okay, and as usual, Ezekiel has brought his beer. All right? Time to go to work. So, two things we're going to work on today. Okay. Okay, drive me crazy. Number one, for example, teacher. So let's look at that. Okay, where's my eraser? For example, I hate, but I forget my eraser. For example means, literally, I want to show you something that will prove to you what I'm saying, or give proof or evidence, or I want to show you something, right? So there's got to be a different way of saying, for example. Yes, I'm holding my book. This will be one of the first times I'm going to read it because I want to make sure you get some really good examples or illustrations for what I want you to learn. Ah, see, illustration. Illustration means to draw, but it means a picture. Let's go to the board. So for example, teacher, let's get rid of that. What do you mean? There are one or two things. You either want to prove a point or show something. So let's look at to show. Another thing for saying, instead of this, you can say, for instance. In this case, when we're doing this, we're showing something. We're saying, in this case, in this instance, in this situation, right? Similar to, for example. For instance, this morning I had, I usually have breakfast every morning. For example, I usually have oranges with some eggs. Or, for instance, this morning I had oranges and some eggs. Ooh, see, sounds the same, but it sounds nicer because it's different. And you won't be like every other student says, for example. You've shown you are a unique individual, and you should be treated like that. See? Good. All right, Ezekiel's got another hand up now. There we go. See? He's giving you the thumbs up there. Yeah, man! And drinking his beer. A drunk worm, tequila worm. That's where I found him, Mexico. Anyway. So for instance, that's a good one, okay? These ones will show. You can use them for showing your point, drawing a picture. Next one, to illustrate. When you illustrate something, you draw it. You draw a picture. Now, in a future lesson, I'm going to explain to you about the three ways of learning. And that would be auditory, kinesthetic, that's feeling, and visual. This is a good one for people who are visual because when you use it, it actually helps them draw a picture in their mind. Wow, you didn't think you'd get that for $1. See, all this information? So you use that with people who are very visual, they'll get that picture right away. Okay? So anyway, so you might want to, when you show people, you say, for instance, I want to show you something, and to illustrate. Okay? And you're going to say to illustrate, and we can even put in brackets, because if you want to say this, get fancy, university level. Oh yeah, pull up. Okay, don't do this with your friends. They'll think you're snobby. Bum. There's another word for it, but this is PG-13. So just think, to illustrate is good enough. To illustrate what I mean, blah, 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 right? For instance, blah, blah, blah. You want to go to your boss or professor, to illustrate my point, blah, blah, blah. Or to your judge. If you drink too much and drive, you'll have to illustrate my point, drinking and driving, not good. All right, so this is for show, show, show. What's the next one we're going to do? Well, I've got two more for you, all right? So sometimes we want to show, but sometimes we want to prove. What do we mean by prove? Well, prove is to say something is true. When you want to show something, you just want to mention it. You want to use it as an example, right? To show people. But when you want to prove a point, make it stronger. We call it hammering it home. Making sure people know. Here are two you like. Your Honor, case in point. Case in point, phrase which literally means this point makes my case, what I'm saying, true. This example makes what I'm saying true. So I want to prove something to you. So I don't want to just show it to you. I want to make it stronger. So yes, it does mean to show, of course. An example is a demonstration. But when you say case in point, there's a greater emphasis or there's a greater push to saying this is true and I'm going to prove it to you. Okay? So case in point, like you're a lawyer. Yeah, you're going to need one if you keep taking my lessons. All right. And one more, and it also has to do with points, because pointing is this, right? Which you should never do. If you do point, you should do this. It's open-handed. I have to do a lesson on body language. You're going to love it. You'll meet girls and boys like that. Anyway, you open your hand, right? Case in point, to prove what I have to say. The next one is this one. Look, see, there's a word. You can say this, to prove my point, blah, 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 blah. Right? Because it means, for example, to prove my point, and then you just say it. And that's taking this word example, for example, and saying it right off. Right? You're always late. To prove my point, yesterday, I waited 5 hours. To prove my point, yesterday, I waited 5 hours, or you're always late, for example, yesterday, I waited 5 hours. Oh my God. 4 different ways to say it. Isn't that beautiful? See, you like that? Yeah. See, you can say all of these. Don't do them one after the other because they'll think you're crazy. But you can say, for example, then maybe the next sentence or two, for instance, and then after that, to prove my point. And you'll probably find that the teacher will go, yes, yes, yes. Do you have a number? I'm kidding. That won't happen. But it's a good start, right? Start a conversation. Show you have mastered the language. Okay, to prove my points. And then you can actually add, I wouldn't do this. This is what we call overkill too much. Here's, but you could add that word, this ugly word. Here's an example. But you don't need to. You can just say the explanation, right? Just say it right away. So, this is one of the things that drives me crazy. I hope I've improved your life. Case in point, I'm going to give you another one that will make you look very, very intelligent with your teachers. Same. May I get rid of this? Ezekiel says yes. So it doesn't matter if you care or not. Ezekiel says yes, but we've got to prove and to show, and we've given you 4 examples. All right? See, holding on to the book so I don't tear my hair out from frustration. Okay, because I want to hear you, especially some of my students actually watch these videos. I'm talking to you, my students. Please use the examples I've given. And I will personally kiss you on the cheek every time I hear it. No, I won't. Some of you need to wash first, so no, I won't. But you understand, and you know who you are. You need this hat. It's cold in this country. All right. For example, teacher. Lesson number 1. The other one is pet peeve. You know what pet peeve is? It's the second lesson. Pet peeve is something that makes you angry all the time, no matter what. It's a pet peeve. Like a pet, you love your pet, so you love this thing because it's consistent in making you angry. Peeve means angry, right? Same. You will say to a student, I don't know, run. And they say, is it the same as walk, teacher? Obviously not. If it were, we would have one word for walk and run. We don't. We have two words. A lot of times, and I understand, so I'm being understanding here. A lot of times students want to make English easy so that they can learn it. I understand. I feel your pain. Really, I do. But don't give me pain and say everything is the same. Our dictionary is this thick, but you want it to be this thick, one page. It doesn't work that way. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to learn different ways of saying same so you can understand, because I know that's why you're saying is it the same, because you really want to understand. You're a good student. Yeah, pat yourself in the back. Go, I am a good student. You are. I love you. We all do here. Okay? But here's a different way of saying same. So let's go. All right? So, I love this. I always smile when students say this one. Similar. Similar has the idea of saying, I have to get rid of this marker, excuse me. Flush, gone. All right. Similar means similar to same. It means close but not exact. And I like this word because it tells me that you are thinking. It tells me that you understand they are the same in some ways. That's why they've been used, but probably not exactly the same. And I'm like, you know what? I like you. You're a thinker. That's good. So similar, look at this. A one word for me. So don't say is it the same, saying is it similar to? All right? To is used for direction. Preposition used for direction. So you're saying is it close to or like this one? Okay? Another one we can say is like. Is it like this? Like is a comparative word, right? We use it for comparisons. Right? Similes, metaphors. Okay, so is it like this? Is it like that? That way it gives the teacher and you both room to understand what they are similar to, or what is the same, and maybe what the differences are. Now, these are positive ways of looking at it. I like this because these are saying, what is the same between these things? But how do we talk about negative differences? Because sometimes things aren't different, and you know, like, I know this is the same here, but when is it different? That's what I need to know. Well, these ones are talking about the differences, right? So let's take a look, for instance. Okay? We can say, oh, 1 second, you know what? I've got one more here for you. Okay, so this is one, similar to. Right? We got similar to, that's number one. Number two is like. Number three, okay, here we go. See, when we talk about something has the same meaning, right, it opens up, because you go, look, when you said same, I said, I'm asking a question. I didn't say, are they the same, or they are the same. No, I didn't say they are the same thing. Do they have the same meaning? So if we do a question form. So that gives a person who's answering a question, say, yes, they mean the same in this context, in this situation, but probably not all the time. Yeah? Okay, cool. So these are the positive ones. Now here's one, or two more. So I'm going to do this one. It's not negative, it just talks about the differences more than the sameness, what is different, right? Now, here is it. So we go, how or when are they different? Okay. If somebody tells you two words are similar, then you might say, well, he said similar, not the same. So if, or he or she, and then if she said they're similar, that means there must be differences. Maybe what's more important to you is, how do I know when not to use it? Okay? So you go, so hey, how are they, oops, I said they different? How do they differ? How can I tell the difference? Or, when are they different? In what situation does it become an adverb to an adjective? Or in what situation does the gerund form become a noun? What are they different? How are they different? Tell me so I can use it properly in the future. It makes my English grow or expand faster. Okay? Now, you heard me say the word differ. differs in here. See this? Okay. So here's what I want to do here. I'm going to, erase my number 1. I love it. I really do. Okay. So I don't want you to forget it. This is number 4, right? And this is another negative one, but it's not really negative. Do you remember how we say they're the same? Well, you can say this. Right? How do they differ? How are they different? How do they differ? Very similar question. Or when do they differ? So you can just say different instead of different. Okay? So I've given you 4 ways. And you know the number 1 way, right? Number 1, this one's positive, positive. Okay? And number 1 was what? Remember? Get rid of this one. We don't want to talk about saying, we want to say similar. Similar. Right? Because if words are exactly the same, well, then we're only going to have one word. Because what's the point in having snow and then having snow 1? Snow 1, snow, same. Just have snow. Then we have slush in other words, right? Because there's always a little difference. Say, number 1. Numero uno, ichiban. Yes, I speak some Japanese. Not very much. Okay. Number 1, say similar. Okay? And this shows the positive aspect of sameness. Okay? Number 2, like, compare. So in this case, you're literally asking the teacher to compare it to another word. Number 3, do they have the same meaning? Give me the understanding. All right? Now, over here, we could go negative and go, how do they differ? How are they different, right? Or when or how are they different in case you have a problem with differ. We good? Great. Those are my 2 top pet peeves. Don't worry. The black book shall make an appearance again. And when it does, I will bring out more of your horrible, horrible mistakes. But for now, let's go to the board. Ezekiel and I must take off. We're not going to the same place, but similar places, the washroom. And he goes in the ground and I go to an actual toilet. So, once again, he's saying, come join him for a drink at www, ing as in English, vid as in video.com, where you can come to learn more and more English and have a beer with Ezekiel. If you can find him, to get a free beer. Seriously, look on the website. Try and find a picture of Ezekiel. Free beer in Canada anytime you come. So you have to come and fly to Canada and then prove it's on the website and it's yours. All right? So have a good day. Don't forget ebig.com, where you can meet myself or see me again and other teachers who are looking forward to teaching you. Have a good one. All right? So, how do they differ? Right? Like, blah, blah, blah. Don't forget. See you.